And then I'll do these.
Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And if he hasn't done it, I'm going to double check during the 5.
Okay, cool. So I'll leave. I'm going to be here till the last game, and I'll go back to the hotel and like tally it and probably create a document. And we can go in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5th game of 6th. Texas Stampede taking on the University of Arizona Wildcats. Should be a good matchup. Texas wins the jump, scores the first goal. Lee Burdett inbound to Josh Wheeler. Wheeler's going to beat Ray. So 1-1 the score. Thanks for joining us. Just remember, you have 10 seconds to inbound the ball, 12 seconds to get the ball into the front court, 40 seconds to score, and you have to pass or dribble every 10 seconds. So some similarities to basketball. Texas is struggling a little bit here against the U of A key defense. That might have been because there were 4 in the key. So Corey, number 2, Peterball, Team USA silver medalist at Tokyo, was supposed to say out of the key. When you're on defense, you can only have 3 players inside that blue box between the cones. So the ref saw his front wheels go in, and as a result, Texas is going to get a fresh 40 seconds of shot clock to work with and a 4-on-3 man advantage. They're also going to set up defensively to keep Corey from coming onto the court. So as soon as Texas scores, Corey's able to come onto the court, but as he was blocked by Alex Pabon, he's forced to take the inbound, which may give Texas a defensive advantage if they play it right. So Corey's looking for an inbound. He's got 10 seconds to do it. Josh Wheeler's kind of pinned in. So Corey tried to pass it to his low pointer, number 1. I believe that's Travis Baker. Baker did not touch it, so Corey effectively passed it to himself, which is not allowed. So Texas with the inbound in the corner. Corey and the rest of the U of A Wildcats set up in the key defense. Ray Henniger handling the ball. Finds Brian Kirkland. So an early turnover here in the first quarter gives us a score of 2-1. Oh, the pass is deep for Lee Burdett. He's unable to catch it initially. And feeling the pressure, stuck in the corner, Lee Burdett opts to call a timeout. So early here in the first, plenty of opportunities for Texas. Got a moment of confusion here at the score table. I believe it should be 3-1. Correct, so it is 3-1. James Gumbert's over there chatting with the ref on the table just to make sure the score's right. All right, so Lee Burdett inbounds to Wheeler, who's got a double. He's going to try to push out of it. Runs into Alex. He's looking. Looking for Corey, finds him. Corey's able to squeak in with 11 seconds left on the shot clock. 3-2, Texas with the lead and the ball. Alex sees Ray down the court for an easy goal. Corey decides to pick back Gabe Garcia, and Alex takes advantage of that to pin down Corey. So now you've got Josh Wheeler working to get the ball in. U of A is forced to inbound it to Lee Fredette, who's going to feel some pressure here from Brian Kirkland. Wheeler's going to help out Lee. Lee's looking to pass it. And, oh my goodness, another turnover here for Texas. So, feeling the pressure, Lee Fredette's forced to try to dump it off to Josh Wheeler. Pass wasn't quite on the money, so early in the game, 5-2, Texas with the lead. And already you're seeing some activity over on the U of A bench, trying to find a solution. So ball's into Wheeler. Wheeler's working down the court. Great pick by Baker to give Josh Wheeler some room. And Brian Kirkland inbounds to Ray Henniger. Ray also a silver medalist. So big hit there as Alex ends up on the floor. Gumbert is frustrated with Lee Fredette here, as Lee hit Alex. Pabon behind the axle while Alex was in the process of catching the ball. So a fresh 40 seconds on the shot clock, and Texas will have a one-man advantage, 4-on-3, until they score. So great early start here for Texas. Not what most folks anticipated, as U of A has a really talented squad and a very deep bench. Probably expected to be one of the top 3 teams, if not one of the top 2 teams in the nation this year. So they've got Corey doubled. Lee Fredette's going to inbound, and Texas is going to try to run a D9 defense. So they're going to try to keep Wheeler from getting the ball, and when he does get it, they're going to try to keep him pinned. But great work by the low pointers to buy him some space and get him down the court. So early on, looks like Texas is really focusing on taking number 2, Corey Kubra, out of the game. Ooh, Ryan inbounds it to Alex. Alex has to really reach to get that ball. And feeling pressure from both Lee Fredette and Corey, Texas uses the timeout, as they had a bit of time left still to get over half court, but no real options to do so. So each team has used a timeout at this point. You have 4 total floor timeouts that can be called during the course of play, usually to prevent a turnover. And each bench has 2 timeouts that need to be called between the whistles. So whenever there's a score or sideline inbound. Looks like the Texas squad is discussing strategy and tactics, just like U of A. U of A is going to set up in the key. New line coming out, so you've got Josh Wheeler, Chuck Melton, Corey, and Chris Fleece, 0.5. So Ray Henniger is able to patiently wait for the play to develop and find space on the far side of the key. Deep inbound by Chuck Melton and Corey. So Melton already making a difference on the court. So ball goes into Ray. Ray's able to. Texas is already transitioning to D. Gabe Garcia is trying to keep Fleece out, and consequently Corey is going to get double teamed really high in the court. So ideally it's a give and go, which is Fleece to Wheeler. And Wheeler's probably going to find a good pass to Chuck Melton if needed. But opts to dish it off to Corey instead. 8-6, Texas Stampede. Leading the U of A Wildcats here in the first quarter. A lot of reaching going on. Great pass by Alex to Ray. Which makes it 9-6, Texas. 4 minutes into the first quarter. Plenty of time still for U of A to get back in this game. More time. Oh, strong Texas defense forces U of A to use another timeout to avoid the turnover. So Texas Stampede coming out here with something to prove after overtime win yesterday against Canada. And early victory today by about 4 or 5 points over Tampa, Wounded Warriors Ability Ranch. One of the really good games we've seen so far this weekend at the 3rd annual Texas Hold'em tournament hosted by the Texas Stampede in Las Vegas. Should be able to find it on the website, Fear the Steer, or our social media. Should be able to view all the games, but I'd recommend Stampede versus Tampa if you want to see some good hits. Okay, so penalty try as Gabe Garcia's knocked over the baseline, so that's going to be a goal for U of A. The ball's in low to Ray. Ray's going to have to push through, and bit of a race here. Nice cutback to avoid a hit from Corey. It's 3-on-3 here as Gabe has Fleece picked out in the backcourt. So a little patience and communication. Texas is asking for a deny. Defense is Fleece is forced to call inbound. So Texas wants to position themselves in front of the ball and not allow the ball to come into any of their handlers, but it looks like both Chuck and Wheeler are going to be options. So ball goes into Chuck. Chuck dishes it off to Wheeler. Wheeler runs into pressure at the midcourt. Unloads it to Corey. Corey's feeling pressure. And Brian Kirkland with pressure on Corey. Pushes Corey over the midcourt line. So that's going to be an over and back. So that's going to be a turnover. What was the call there? Is that over and back? Oh, timeout. So correction there. Corey actually called a timeout. The signal was given for over and back by one ref, but the other ref had seen Corey call a timeout. So at this point, 5 minutes into the first quarter, U of A's burned 3 of their four timeouts. Texas has the lead 10-7. Corey looking for a gap, doesn't find it. Ray Henniger's there. Time is running out here on the shot clock. U of A's having a hard time getting into the key here, finds Chuck. Oh my goodness, so that is not a goal, as the 40-second shot clock had expired. So that's going to be a turnover for Texas. I believe that's the 4th here in the first quarter. So nobody really expected to see this type of outing. And a sketchy inbound there by Gabe Garcia. Takes a deflection. The ball's loose, but Alex is able to scoop it up and has time and space. So they're able to take advantage of that turnover. Unlike their games yesterday where they seem to get a turnover and then give it right back. So seeing some improvement here from the Texas team on day 2. So another sketchy pass. Alex was almost there, but Chuck's able to find the deep pass to Josh Wheeler. So with 2 minutes left here in the first quarter, the score is 11-8. Texas has the ball and the lead. Lots of space for Alex Pabon to pick this up. So it's now 12-8, Texas over U of A. So Chris Fleece is forced to call inbound again, as Gabe Garcia had him picked out, and he's a pretty important part of this offense as far as just being able to separate the court a little bit. So it goes into Chuck. Chuck's looking to spin out. He passes it to Wheeler. Wheeler's in a good position. Unloads it to Corey. Great job by U of A there, under pressure and in a less than ideal situation with Fleece having the inbound. Texas making it look easy here in the first quarter. But it's a long game. 4 8-minute quarters. Each game is usually about an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes. So we're just getting started. Plenty of players on the bench that can come in and make a difference. And probably worth noting, U of A's, I believe they've got Chuck Aoki rostered on their team, who's not here today. So certainly an impact player. He's the flag bearer at the Tokyo Paralympics and 3-time medalist. So again, Fleece is forced to call the inbound. And Texas is looking for a denied defense. So Bryant's trying to get in front of that. And the pressure, Chuck goes for the catch, and the pass isn't quite on the money. So it goes off of Chuck Melton, and Texas gets their 5th turnover of the first quarter. Let's see if they can turn it into a point. Oh, and they do. Brian Kirkland pushes backwards through the try line. James Gumbert is on the court. And just because of the size of the court here, the YMCA in Las Vegas, there's not a lot of space between the barrier that divides the gym, and so quick transition inbound there to Wheeler. And Wheeler with the ball is going to give Alex a little tap just to let him know he's there and take the easy goal. So as soon as Brian was up and the whistle was blown, the ball was inbounded. And all right, so it's a bit of a race here. Kind of a sloppy pass, but Alex is able to chase it down. Brian Kirkland was also in pursuit, and at this point they're trying to manage the clock, so there's about 54 seconds left in the first, and Texas tries to manage the clock so that they score the last goal. So with 55, it should take 10 to 15 seconds for Arizona to score. And that's about the case. So 38 seconds left here on the first quarter game clock. And if Texas plays their cards right, they will take their time, get it in the front court, and try to score with less than 5 or 6 seconds on the clock. So they're in the front court, a lot of pressure. And so, yeah, Alex feeling the pressure, looking for an outlet pass. Puts it up, but it actually goes off of Denver. So it's definitely getting physical here with both Corey and Josh Wheeler in pursuit. So 24 on the clock. Texas is already in the front court, so it's going to get the inbound to Ray. Ray's looking at his options and gets it to Alex. So 16 seconds on the clock. Six seconds, 5, 4. So Texas is able to, despite pressure, execute. Wheeler's looking for the deep pass to Corey, and little too deep, even though Chuck was there. So because the ball was not touched, the game clock never started. So there's going to be 4 seconds left. Texas quickly transitions, calls a sub, brings on Mason Simons for Alex. Mason being a very tall person, I think he's about 6'4", has a pretty good reach. So because the ball was not touched, the clock never started, and Texas gets the ball back close to their goal line. And there's a lot of shuffling and scrambling going on in the key. So it looks like Ray Henniger is going to get the penalty there for leaving the court. And it becomes Wheeler's ball. Corey's down the court. I think U of A, after that mistake, is just going to get the ball in safely, and finish the first quarter. So 17-12, 5-point spread here in the first. U of A forced to burn 3 timeouts, and still Texas with the 5-point lead. We're going to take a 2-minute break. Both teams are going to try to figure out what's going on, what's going wrong. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back to you soon. Yeah, Black. Kind of crazy. That's not what I expected.
I got some crazy footage on that one, man. Round 1. Yeah. I gotta swap out a card.
Yeah, Black.
I've been just filming the scoreboard real quick and coming back down so I could keep track.
That was a solid first quarter. Best quarter rugby
cool.
I've seen yet.
So I'm gonna swap it out just to swap it out.
Okay.
You need help?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. Bring in Bucci. You ready, Liz? Get loose, Liz.
Like a year and a half.
Where are you coming from?
SoCal. Like near Disneyland. Or like Fullerton. Fullerton.
Got him! Got him! It's so dry out here.
Yes, it is.
I'm in Austin.
Probably a lot more humid there.
Yeah, so anytime we go, like, we go to Phoenix, we go to U of A, we go to Vegas, it's like packed with champs.
You can feel the difference in the air.
Yeah, like, just like roasting. Used to having like built-in moisturizer.
Because in the summer, then you feel like you're sweating even after you shower.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like,
It's not always a good thing. More often than not. People say it's dry heat, and it's like, it is a good thing when you acclimate.
yeah.
But I'm only here for like 3 days.
Not enough time.
My body's just drying out.
Yeah, exactly. You get off, you get here, you're like,
So new line coming out. Same starting line that we saw. Corey, Josh Wheeler, Lee Fredette, Travis Baker. Texas keeps their starting line. And let's see what U of A can do against this key defense. Corey tries to find the gap between Ray and Brian Kirkland, and it's going to be a penalty goal as Brian Kirkland left the court in the process. If you're just joining us, Texas is up 17-13 here at the beginning of the first quarter. Pass goes to Ray. Ray runs into Brian Kirkland, but able to keep control of the ball. So Texas, really everything's compressed right now. Lee Fredette's going to inbound to Josh Wheeler. Josh Wheeler looking to get out. Lee's probably going to try to set him a pick. Nope, Josh opts to pass it to Corey. Room's opening up midcourt. There's a deep ball to Lee. Lee under a lot of pressure. One of the low corners trying to grab it. Oh, and it looks like, my goodness, Ray Hennigar chased that down and was able to hit the low pointer just as he was going to catch it and score, turning his chair. So not a spin, but a turnover for Texas. And quick sub here, Montreyus is coming on. We call him Boonchi. And Ray Henniger is going to take a quick breather. So here goes the key defense again for Texas. 13 seconds on the shot clock, so U of A needs to score quickly, and they do. Corey lets the play develop and find some room there in the Texas key defense. So ball comes into Bucci. This is his first possession of this game. He definitely brought it. Let's go around. He's going up against, so he's fighting hard to get the ball back. Next play, next play, next play. No worries. So Bunchy there, under pressure from Corey, forced to make a pass. Could have used a timeout, but both of these players are very quick and very, very strong, so expect to see some big hits. So Corey's looking for an outlet, finds it in Alex Pabone. So under a lot of pressure there from Corey. Alex is going to, about 12 seconds on the shot clock, need to score relatively quickly. Offloads it to Boonchi. So first goal for Boonchi. And U of A was able to get one back. So Corey's going to inbound to Wheeler and come onto the court. And Wheeler's going to look for Corey. Alex is trying to take that pass away, but good job by Wheeler to find the best space on the court to make that pass available. 19-16, Texas with the ball and the lead. Ball comes into Bunchy. Bunchy's looking to get on the sideline, but all right. So yeah, that pressure from. So Bunchy tried to call the timeout there, but went out of bounds before he was able to. So it's going to be another turnover from U of A, and Texas is going to bring their starting line back on. So Ray comes back on, and Bunchy's going to get some words from coach, words of wisdom.
good one.
Yeah.
There is. We're running late, so no big deal if you can't. I mean, if you need to leave at 6:30.
I think he and I are fine because we're both volunteering and he was my ride.
Okay.
You can ask him if we're staying. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure we are.
I mean, we don't want to keep any of you longer than you're committed to. My goal, what would be super cool, is if we took like a blank roster. So this has nothing on it as far as writing goes, and then so you've got Phoenix there, and you've got your totals
Yeah.
for each player. So you could just write like 4.
Oh
And
yeah,
then-
on like a blank one of these.
So total, yeah. So try to do, because each team now has played.
So just
4
put the
games.
total of everything for each
Yeah. So
player.
try to get So basically, if I look at this, then it's like, so far, total points scored in all the games by each player.
Okay.
So if you can,
Do you want me to do that during the next game instead of
I think that's probably the best call. Yeah. So
Okay.
we can get the most
Instead of counting the
updated,
ones that are-
accurate. Well, I can tell you who is not playing, and we could do them because they're done for the day. So the next game is.
Because it shows that as the last game.
We have 6 games, Denver, Phoenix. Okay. Great. So let's do it. Let's do it. Just do all the teams except for Green Bay and Texas.
Okay, for today, we'll do the ones from this one too.
So both and.
They should all be right here.
Yeah. That's the beauty is. Theoretically, we can get everybody except for this game, give or take. Oh man, what a relief. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So I can just do that last one and then I can do this. Or he can, I don't know if he's able to do it. He's in the shot clock.
Yeah.
So
I'd say
didn't
just-
do the one from the last game.
Okay.
I didn't do this.
Denver, Phoenix. Okay.
Yeah, so
And
these
he's
two
got
would
it
be-
over there.
Yeah, he's got it.
Okay, cool. Do you want me to? I mean, if you got a minute 48, if you want to use that.
I'm good.
I mean, you got 2 minutes. I can do penalty. I'd say go over there, check with him. If he's not doing it, it might be hard to do shot clock in that.
Yeah.
So if you've got time, and that way we've got all the data here.
Yeah. So I guess I'll finish that
Yeah.
one and then try to do
Yeah.
what I can for this.
Yeah. That's yeah, totally. Yeah. Like. This is the last game.
This is the last game.
For some reason, I thought we had another one
Oh,
after this.
God
Good
forbid.
lord. Thank
That's the
goodness.
last one for me. That's all I know.
Goodness.
Or to that.
They're all blurring together. This is game 6 of 6. Cool.
You didn't need enough to get like.
That makes me
have
happy.
a crash.
I just hope in your commentary you've been making great.
I give you guys a shout out every game. And I usually try to do it when you're right over here with your ass in your face. I feel like his butt always seems to be. I'm pretty sure it's intentional. His way of just reminding me that he's there. All right. Second half action. Out of timeout. So what happened there at the end? They called the floor timeout. They should have gotten 15 on this. Oh, really? Okay, so I commentated correctly. Because I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Because it wasn't really a good timeout. Because they would have had, like, even if they'd have taken it down to the last of the 15, there would have been. So cool. I don't look like a dumbass. Cool. I do know the rules. Fantastic. Right. We are back with second half action. Texas Stampede gets the ball coming out. 29-25. We've got Chuck Melton and Derek Helton, so I apologize if I blur these names. Derek Helton gets the inbound. He's a class 2.0. Gabe's going to try to pick him up on the baseline. So Corey's using Lee and works his way down the court. There's quite a bit of space to work with. Chuck does a good job of sealing. So new strategy coming out for U of A. Derek Helton's on the court, former Paralympian. So Brian Kirkland gets the ball. He's got a little room to push. Looks to pass it off to Ray. Ray follows Gabe down the court. Oh, great job by Gabe to take Chuck out of what could have been a big hit on Ray right around midcourt line. 31-26. Bunchy's in the sub box for Texas. So Helton with the inbound to Corey. Corey's going to use Helton as a pick. Gets stopped right at the midcourt line, dishes it off to Chuck. So Chuck has Lee Fredette alone down the court, and he'll safely take it in for a try, or a score, or a goal, or a point, depending on how you want to word it. So give and go. Kirkland to Henniger, and then back to Kirkland. Kirkland back to Henniger. So a lot of pressure here, but looks like Alex is able to create some space, find himself open for the goal. So Texas with a relatively commanding lead here, considering the matchup. Start the second half, 32-27. So Helton to Melton on the inbound. Melton gets the ball into the front court. Chuck's able to find Corey for the score. So 32-28 here in the third quarter. Still plenty of time. U of A just needs to find an opportunity to get a few turnovers and make them count. But this lineup, which has been on for Texas a good majority of the game, U of A's having a hard time finding an answer for. And there, Derek Helton on the inbound takes a deflection, and Alex Pabon is able to pick it up. So U of A needed turnovers, but Texas ended up getting one. 34-28. Corey's got the ball, a lot of pressure. Lee, great pick on Ray Henniger, who unloads it to Chuck. So Gabe Garcia calls inbound as Derek Helton had him pinned inside the key. And when you're on offense and you're stuck in your own key for more than 10 seconds, that's a turnover. So good call by Gabe there to get the inbound, as he might have been stuck in the key for more than 10 seconds. So a couple good passes. Corey's involved in most of the movement on the court, and they're able to use three different players just to spread the court and the ball. 35-29. Corey's stuck down low. He's going to look for the outlet and passes it off. It's going to be Lee going up against Ray. Ray wins that battle. So another turnover for Texas. Oh, but as we've seen, turnover begets turnover. Brian Kirkland there thought he had the deep outlet to either Ray or Alex, but ended up going right to Chuck Melton. So Derek Helton there with the catch and the try. So I think that one of the first or second turnovers the whole game here for Texas. They've played pretty smart and pretty clean, but that pass from Kirkland was to nobody, and Chuck was able to scoop it up. So Texas able to score this time, 36-30. Derek Helton inbounds to Corey. Corey's got options. It's a little long. Chuck's gonna have to chase it down, and yeah, Corey wants that one back because he had space and he had time and was in the front court. So not a pass that he needed to make under pressure, but just a little too long. For Chuck Belt to grab. And lots of pressure there. Texas almost coughs it up, but it comes off U of A, so it's still Texas ball.
Yes, that was the point.
You can sub on a fallen player. Hey, go back. Brian now. Brian to you. Brian to you. Brian, hey. Back. Go, Jay. Underneath.
Somebody close that out. No, not a point. Yeah, reset the shot clock. Reset.
Yes, Liz. Yes, Liz. Right there, right there. Underneath, Liz. Ball's in. Bob. Liz on Chris. Liz. Hey, Mike, you're gonna have to move. You're gonna have to move the sidelines. Hey, man, what's it gonna take? They flipped us 3 times and nobody's even got anything. I mean, I'm not sitting my guys out there doing recognition. You guys are out here listening to no business. I understand that. You got a guy who's on the baseline. You got a guy here on the baseline. Cheap ass shot. Knocked our guy off the thing, put him in the hospital. Come on. All right, let's go.
under audio? Okay. No, it's all good. Channel 1 source or channel 2? On both? Okay. It seems to be working my Okay, yeah. Alright, I'll go run down there and give it to you.
You know what this is?
Sorry about
Last
that.
word. Game face
Technical
is on.
issues. Quick battery replacement of the mic. So we're starting the fourth and final quarter of the last game today. U of A is going to get the ball coming out. Derek
Hey,
Helton,
we're
Sean
on.
Melton, Chris Fleece, and Paco on the court. So, and very quickly we've got an equipment timeout by Alex Pabone. He needs another wheel. I think that's the fourth or fifth wheel replacement in this game for Alex.
That could have been more opportune.
You can see the scores to all the games played thus far on our website, uswra.com, org.
He ain't got anything to put
You can also check out the Texas Stampede website if you're the steer. So Paco in pursuit there of Ray Hennigar, looking to lay a pretty big hit on him. But Ray makes the last moment adjustment and chair untouched. Paco goes over on his own and looks like he took a bit of a spill there. I think he might have bonked his head. Let's make sure he's okay. He gives the nod. He looks like he's okay. So no penalty, no foul there. Texas scores the goal. It's 45-39. And here it goes. Derek to Chuck. Helton to Melton. Paco with the ball, going up against the key defense of the Texas Stampede. Ball's loose and bounces around quite a little bit, and it ends up being a jump. So ball was knocked out. Texas had it. Ball was knocked out again. U of A had it, and then Alex in there with the jump. So he He got his hand in there. It was all ball, according to the refs. And because U of A got the ball coming out in the fourth, that means it's Texas Stampede's arrow, or they have the jump. So in the case of a jump ball, whoever has the arrow will get the inbound. And Texas had the arrow there. As we've seen, turnover begets turnover, so Texas gives it right back. U of A with a fresh shot clock. We'll try going up against that Texas key defense again. So Paco looks for an opening, doesn't really see much there. Dumps it off to Chuck. Chuck's looking for options. Paco slides in, so they make it work. Ball comes into Bunchi. Helton swipes it, and looks like it's going to stay the same way. Ball goes out of bounds, so it's a dead ball, and James Gubbert opts to bring on a brand new line. So you've got Ray, Mason, Mike Schockerbauer, and Liz Dunn. 3-5, 2-5, 2.5. So 8.5 points on the court, as allowed by the presence of Liz Dunn. And a little bit of confusion here between the refs. They're going to figure out whose ball it is. I thought it came off of U of A. Gonna confer with the table real quick. And yeah, so black ball, Texas coming out. Ball goes into Mason. 45-40, Texas with the lead and possession of the ball. Mason with a little head fake. Didn't seem to do much there to Chuck Melton. 18 seconds on the shot clock. Mason looking for something, trying to find an opening, and he does. He attempts no-look pass, and it looks like we're calling for staff to come on. As
He did it to himself.
Paco went down again, and so it's going to be a penalty goal. Mason was looking to pass it to Ray, and in the process of trying to intercept that, Paco not only went over the goal line, but also onto the floor. So deep inbound. Derek Helton to Chuck Melton. Texas looking to transition quickly. Mason has the ball. And just going to push this all the way in. So with 5 minutes and 41 seconds left in the fourth quarter, score is 47-41. Texas with the lead. A big hit, but Paco's able to get it out and find Chuck Melton for the score. So several of the players on the court have bilateral above-the-knee amputations. And consequently, they sit quite tall in their chair. They have a lot of trunk function, fully innervated trunks, but it makes them quite top-heavy. So in many cases, it's much easier for their chairs to go down or over just because of the way the weight is distributed vertically throughout the chair. So that's a quick and easy one for Paco. It's going to be 48-43. Stampede still has the lead with 5 minutes left.
Cheetahs, 5-0.
So inbound goes off of U of A there. Texas is going to maintain possession, but Shock is going to inbound it in the corner. Mason's going to try to set up for the easy inbound, which he gets. Ray is going to be an option for Mason. And Shock is free. Going to get chased down here by Chuck Melton. It's a 2.0 versus 2.0. They're swarming on him, but Shock's able to get it back to Ray. So another point there for Texas. That brings it to 50-43. And Derek Helton looks for Chuck Melton, but opts to throw it to Paco instead. So Paco there on the midcourt line opts to play it safe. Calling for picks down the court. Paco is going to go for the far cone, but Ray Henniger's there. So 15 seconds now on the shot clock. 10 seconds. He just tries to force it through, and as a result, the ball comes off his lap. Texas is able to scoop it up, and Ray finds himself wide open. So solid key defense there from Texas. And Ray hasn't scored yet. So milking a little bit of time off the clock. And it looks like U of A is going to use their final bench timeout. So 4 floors and 2 bench. They've used all 6 of those. And bring in a new line. So got Ben Waker on the court. Derek Helton. So James Gumbert's going to bring in some subs as well. I think at this point with a 7-point lead, both teams are just going to cycle in some of the athletes who haven't played at all or many minutes in this game, just to get them a little court time. We don't fly all this way for nothing. So number 10 calls for the inbound. That's Alex Pabone. He goes to Mason, and Mason goes right back to Alex. So Alex is just going to take some time off the clock. They've got a 6-point lead. Will be 7 if he scores. And might as well just, if there's no pressure on you and you can score. It's been a long day. This is, as I mentioned, the last of 6 games played today. You can check them all out on our various websites and social media platforms, uswra.org, fearthesteer.org. So it's going to be Black's ball as a deep pass there wasn't able to be secured. So U of A turns it over. And Alex Pabone is going to inbound it. He's likely looking for Dre Lampkin. There's a bump, so it's a bit of a race. Dre's going to use chair position, but Dre's a quadruple amputee. And Chuck is also 6 foot plus, has a much larger wingspan than Dre. He's able to get the turnover, so Ben Waker tries to squeak it in, but gets nudged out, so that's not a goal. So 3 turnovers in a row, no goals scored since. So Dre Lampkin's going to inbound it. He's a class 3.0. He finds Mason, and Mason with a very loopy pass. to Alex Pabon, who takes a few additional seconds off the clock. 2 minutes, 34 seconds, 52 to 44. Texas with the lead. So here's a bump, and nobody's going to touch it. And the call there is 10 seconds. So you have 10 seconds to get the ball in and in possession. So nobody touched that. It's going to be Texas ball in their own corner. So ball goes into Mason. Mason brings it down with one hand. He's got Alex wide open. Oh, Alex with an unusual error, but able to recover. And certainly a reach there by Derek. So Derek's going to come over to the box. Number 13, illegal use of hands. So Texas playing with a one-man advantage now. A fresh 40 seconds on the shot clock. Looks like Dre Lampkin is going to inbound the ball, which he does to Mason. Subs were made. Mike Schockerbauer as well as Gabe Garcia on the court. Alex is taking a break, likely done for the day. Mike Schockerbauer is going to set up for the transition and force Derek Helton to call inbound, which he does. So Helton inbounds to Waker. Waker back to Helton. Two class 2.0s looking to pick and roll down low. I think this is a all deuces line. 4 players all classed at 2.0. What you might call a balanced line. Each of them should all be able to handle the ball relatively well. But certainly don't have the speed or neurological function of some of the high pointers, the 3.0s, 3.5s. So Chuck Melton with the inbound to Ben Waker. Waker's going to push. He's got space. He's looking to get over half court. Dre's going to give him a hit. Waker with the pass. It's bobbling around and recovered by Texas. That's Mike Schockerbauer. So they're going to take a couple ticks here. Dre gives the ball to Mason. Minute 10 on the clock. Looks like they're going to try to score with about 50 seconds remaining. 54-45, Texas Stampede with the lead. "12 seconds on the shot clock. Ball goes to Dre. Dre gets the goal with exactly 49 seconds left on the game clock. So Texas is looking to potentially concede a goal here to U of A, if not try to get a turnover, and then use the remaining game clock. So big pass, and comes off the hand of Mike Schockerbauer, who's almost able to get the turnover. So 35 seconds left. Was there a reset? Was there a reset? Shot clock. Should there have been a reset? The ball's going the same way, right?
It was even though. That's why.
So looks like U of A is going to get a full 40. Not sure if that was a missed call out on the court, but certainly wasn't a change of possession. It was just a went out of bounds. Yeah, I know, but they scored with 49. Looks like Texas gets the turnover anyway, so they're just going to take this down to the buzzer, and Dre's going to. So, 11-point game, 5 seconds on the clock. Ben gets it in. I think they're going to look for it. They've got people down the court. Desperation pass, but there's the buzzer. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. So 56 to 45, Texas is able to defeat the University of Arizona Wildcats. That's going to conclude our coverage for today. If you've been watching, we appreciate the support. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Denver is the only team thus far undefeated. A few teams at 3-1, a couple at 2-2, one at 0-4. Feel free to check out the website for updated scores and to catch any games that were live streamed earlier. They should all be available. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. All done, yay! We won! Thank you, thank you. Can I ask you a quick favor?
I want to know how Alan